decided to draw on our historic friendship for this reading.
Historic?
I think so. Call it that. We once went round someone's house when we were both at art school and we were locked out, they weren't in. So we went into the garden shed where they had some paint and some benches, and we sat in there and drank some tins. And in this poem we sort of revisit the shed, maybe more conceptually than the actual thing was.
Yeah, we sort of discussed what the shed might be, and at the time we were at art school we had a tutor who told us that every poem was a performance to the auditorium of language in which all poems that are written and all the poets who ever wrote them sit and watch in audience. So we've got a slightly smaller audience, but I think
just two of us.
Just two of us. But there's something about working with somebody for a long time and reading their poems and sharing their poems that means that you kind of have them in your head. So perhaps the shed is the sort of spared editorial space that you have with friends and readers of your work.
Somehow we arrange this system. One of us is always late, the other sits on a damp bench and listens, and the more embarrassing things are, sentimental, the better. I've sent all my texts and I'm powerless. I take a sip of Heineken, admiring the chocolatey note there somewhere, like the thought of sunlight. There's no sunlight here, of course, except inside a deep old television in a room at a party that's been left on when everyone else has gone outdoors and past midnight it's still warm.
What do we know in the dark? Your ears are in the shed and so am I. In the shed we feel mostly with our shins and talk perfectly. He is here too, isn't he? His last line, fine as a tongue in a narrow beak. I hear him repeat when either of us speak. And then the night we came in from, these propped bikes, the smell of old paints. It's good to know the house is coming home soon, but now the shed is something wide, like a lake from below.
It's good to see the daffodils at night, a sort of out past bedtime scene where we can only repeat what we mean or contradict it. I don't think I even have a phone. I don't think I need it. The froth from an unhappy beer can, the TV on. They said that they'd be back for drinks, but did they ever come back? That isn't it. I couldn't help seeing the blush of a galaxy above the darkened garden. Seems weird to say that in those times you counted on people to show up. Still sunlight is sealed inside this can of beer. I have been hit by a car and all my poems written off. Admit defeat, don't admit defeat. This is the stuff dissertations are made of.
I wasn't wearing proper shoes last time. The hill feels heavier, but I'm walking at the old speed. He is dead, I'm saying it over. The train got in early, so I brought a clementine on account of old rinds piled up that time. If I get there first, I'll smoke on account of you getting there first and probably smoking. How is your embarrassment stroke sentimentality going? Enough to burn those corduroys over? What do you think he'd make of this? I could draw his beard in the 4 stages of twitch, which only serves to say he's here. When a cat walks, it is a poem because her feet step uncertainly, but step just so the same. I'm on the gravel. I'm in the doorway now.
I wasn't sure if I'd been waiting, but then I was aware of it like rain starting up, night and irritation and the folly of creative writing. The sunlight that our tutor saw as if he could conduct it. Sunlight does what sunlight does, more vivid through the beer. Without wanting to caricature our relationship, in the shed I ask the wrong questions and am powerless against them. If I had a phone now, I would stare at it, cradling one message. In the darkness of the shed, the beer, an itch, embarrassing and sentimental like saving chocolate. And the image no one used seems near. At the welcome break at 3 a.m, 3 Japanese girls on an arcade machine, one blowing imaginary smoke from her gun as another stifles a terrible yawn. What I would say to the honourable gentleman is this.
The shed makes a noise like a crowd assembling, but I don't know if you're even here now, which is why I keep coming back to the kitchen cupboard door I repaired with a staple gun, and the room which was always like a beach, because we never took the towels off the radiators, and the carpet was blue, and the walls painted yellow. I'm taking the rib of a whale and running with it. I'm circling your head into a coin. I'm spending it on a Heineken to drink in the garden for a very long time, and the shed is like a great wooden ear listening inwards, and when you talk about the dead, they rot slower.